לפניו ברננה, לפניו ברננה. עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, בוא לפניו ברננה, לפניו ברננה. יללי, 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 לפניו ברננה. עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, בוא לפניו ברננה, לפניו ברננה. יללי, 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 יללי,
Please be seated.
It's my great honour and privilege to welcome you all to West London Synagogue. As I've just discovered, some of you have never been here before. It's a historic building. I apologise to those of you sitting over there because what you're looking at is blanked out windows, because we are, for the first time since World War II, finally restoring the stonework and indeed the windows which were damaged by bomb damage back in 1944. We have long memories at West London Synagogue. We're really honoured and touched that the ordination service is taking place here at West London. For some of us who are really old, who graduated many years ago, we actually studied in part of West London Synagogue long before the Manor House, the Sternberg Centre, was ever thought of. So we love you being back home. We wish all of you great kavod and success and mazal. And please, everybody, enjoy this service. It's a real celebration. Thank you.
Before we continue on page 1, it is my pleasure on behalf of the College to welcome representatives of our stakeholder movements, the Chair of Liberal Judaism, Simon Bencher, and Chief Executive and Senior Rabbi, Danny Rich. To also welcome Senior Rabbi of the Reform Movement, Rabbi Laura Jana Klausner. To welcome Phyllis Dorey, who is representing the World Union for Progressive Judaism here this afternoon. To also welcome Matt Plen, the Chief Executive of Masorti UK. To welcome all the representatives of our communities and colleagues from across Europe, and in particular our French partners and Rabbi Pauline Bed. And we also welcome the many patrons and friends being an official status with a capital F, as well as all of those of you who are friends of Leerbeck College with a small letter F, because it is the support of all of you that sustains the college and enables us to reach these and other such momentous and happy occasions. And last, but by no means least, it is a great pleasure for all of us to welcome the family and friends and the invited guests of each of the 4 ordinands. We read together, 2/3 of the way down on page 1, from Psalm 118. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, berach nuchem mi beit Adonai, el Adonai v'ya'el lanu, isru chag ba'avotim, ad karnot hamizbeach, Eli ata v'odeka, Elohai aromamecha, hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki la'olam chasdo.
We'll join together in the English on the top of the next page. God of blessing, we witness today the creation of a new link in the chain of tradition. A new generation of rabbis stands before you. We who are assembled here, their teachers and fellow students, communities, families, and friends, have shared until now their journey. We ask your blessing upon them. Help them when they call upon you, for in your service all are tested. Give them strength when they doubt themselves and your image within them. Open their minds to truth and their hearts to love, so that all who come to them may find gentleness and understanding, courtesy and wisdom. Give them power to be humble, so that pride does not separate them from others, and that they may learn from all. Be with them in their lives and in their work, so that they may help others come to you as they themselves are helped. There is a great joy for those who love your teaching. We share this joy today with our communities and with all who worship you in truth. For this is a day of thanksgiving and dedication, a day of fulfillment and a new promise. May this truly be a day created by God.
Amen. We're going to continue with the Psalms for the afternoon service, following a practice that does date back well over 2,500 years, which is to recite these verses antiphonally. And so what we would ask is that everyone who is to my right, to my left, to your right, joins with Tamara in the first half of the verses, and everyone who is to my right joins with me for the responses. You'll follow our lead.
Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Oya Hallelu HaSelah.
Ashrei Ha'am Shekach Lo, Ashrei Ha'am Shadonai Eloham.
Tehillah leDavid, Aromim HaElohai HaMelech, Ve'avarcha Shimcha le'olam va'ed.
B'chol yom avarechecha, v'ahalala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai u'kulal me'od, ve'ligdulato ein zeker.
Dor ledor yishbach ma'asecha, u'gevurotecha yavgidu.
Hadar kevod hodecha, ve'divrei niflotecha asita.
Ve'zus noratecha yomeru, u'gedulatcha asaprena.
Zecher rav tuvecha yaviu, zetzidchacha yeranenu.
Hanun v'rachum Adonai, erech apayim u'gedal chesed.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yivarechucha.
Kevod malchutcha yomeru, u'gvuratcha yidaberu.
Lehodia livnei hadam gevurotav, u'chavod hadam malchuto.
Malchutcha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor vador.
Somech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokef lechol hakfufim.
Einei kol elecha yisaberu, ve'ata noten lehem et achlam b'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, u'maspia lechol chai ratzon.
Tzadik Adonai bechol derachav, חסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קורב, לכל אשר יקראוהו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה, כדי את שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיט.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
And all together,
ואנחנו נברך יה,
מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. You would please stand. Atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot ve'Imahot, U'meivi Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
Unending is your might, eternal one. You are
the source of eternal life. Great is your power to redeem. You cause the winds to blow and the rain to fall, the sun to shine and the dew to descend. In your love you sustain the living. In your compassion you grant us eternal life. You support the falling and heal the sick. You free the captive and keep faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of all strength? Who is your equal, sovereign author of life and death? Whose will it is that goodness shall prevail. Trusting in you, we see life beyond death. We praise you, O God, source of eternal life.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך, הכתוב על יד נביאך.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו.
כבודו מלא עולם.
ברוך כבוד אדוני
ממקומך מלכנו, מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושיבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue the intermediate blessings in silence from the top of page 7 to the foot of page 9, and we will come together again at the top of page 10.
מודים אנחנו לך,
אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות. We read the prayer for peace together in English. Supreme source of peace, grant true and lasting peace to your people Israel. For it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all peoples may be blessed at all times with your gift of peace. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. Remain seated as we now have the privilege of hearing addresses from our 4 ordinands.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. Love the eternal, your God, with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. These words that I command you today shall be upon your heart. Well, perhaps it's just a nice coincidence that the initial letters of Rabbi Dr. Leo Beck's name form the words heart in Hebrew, lev. However, the name Leo Beck was at the heart of my home community back in Chelyabinsk, and for me, as it was the college for all my rabbis. In my imagination, it was at least as big and beautiful as Hogwarts, with people wearing robes, top hats, and 3-piece suits all the time, even when they went shopping. Well, now I realize that I was wrong. It is so much better. However, in some places, top hats still can be seen. It all started when my grandma saw an advert for a Jewish summer camp back in Russia in 1999. Just 13 years after, I received a letter from Leo Beck College saying that I'd been accepted. I remember it well, at least because a meteorite exploded and fell onto my home city on the same week that I received the acceptance letter from the college. By the way, it's true. All the rest is commentary. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. Repeat them to your children and talk about them when you sit in your home and when you walk in the street, when you lie down and when you rise up. There are names of people to whom I would like to express my deep gratitude. People who shared with me their wisdom, my teachers and those who have supported me on the way. First of all, my parents, who are watching this service via live stream. Привет. My brother and his family, Konstantin and Yulia, who are here today. My nephew, Platon, who is interested in Judaism and Jewish stories more than anyone in his school in Israel, and certainly more than I was when I was his age. My classmates, Daniela, Zahavit, Gershon, Gwendolyn, Kasha, and many others with whom I've been honored to study. You became an embodiment of the rabbinic teaching, Eizehu Chacham Alomed Mikol Adam, who is wise, the one who learns from everyone, from every person. We've been learning from and with each other for all these years, for which I'm enormously grateful to you. There are many rabbis and teachers who inspired me and who have been a source of support and inspiration. All the teachers and staff at the college, my rabbinic tutor, Rabbi Thomas Salomon, and my colleagues at the Liberal Jewish Synagogue, Rabbi Alexandra Wright and Rabbi Elana Dalal. Also, it is important for me to mention rabbis with whom I share native language. Well, we are a bit of a rare species today. I'd like to thank all the Russian-speaking rabbis, but especially Sasha Liskovoy, Leonid Bimbat, Nelly Shulman, Alex Duchovny, Natasha Verzbovsky, and Gregory Kotler, All of them made me aspire to their Judaism. My partner, who has shared a large part of my journey. My friends from Israel, the UK, Russia, and other parts of the world, many of whom are here today. Out of fear of missing any of you out, I will not say all your names, but instead, I just say thank you to all of you. Спасибо, что пришли. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. There are many names by which people call my brand of Judaism: liberal, reform, progressive, modern. My Judaism is all of them and none of them at the same time. Another teacher of mine, Rabbi Golan Ben Chorin, once shared with me that when people ask him what kind of rabbi he is, he always says, hopefully a good one. I find that very meaningful. My Judaism is liberal, reform, progressive, modern, but also inclusive, knowledgeable, brave, meaningful, spiritual, relational, ethical, prophetic, relevant, proactive, ready to speak out and to act, open for change, and ready to admit mistakes. My rabbi is the one who can say, I don't know. My Judaism is the one without which the world is missing something important. If any institution can dare to represent the future of Judaism, it can only be a rabbinic school. Neobec College will remain in my heart for the rest of my life. I came here from Russia, and I'm staying here with a deep sense of gratitude and love. From Russia, with love. All the rest is commentary.
Halom halamti, I dreamed a dream. Where do our dreams come from? Why do we suddenly decide to pursue one of them and make it a reality? For me, it started on a Shabbat in March 2007 in Jerusalem, where I was attending a World Union conference for the first time. Like a sponge, I was ready to absorb the intensity of the moment. On Saturday afternoon, I took part in a visit of the old city, led by Rabbi David Wilfant, nicknamed Hajinji, the red hair. Our small, cosmopolitan and enthusiastic group finished a walk up on the rooftops of this old city, singing the few tunes we all knew in Hebrew. The sun was setting, the muezzin was recalling his flock to their duties, and all the bells were ringing. Everyone was in his right place and was calling to God in their own way. Everything seemed to be bathed in a kind of astonishing and momentary bliss. This suspended moment afforded a glimpse of hope that has never left me. Back in Lyon, I put all this aside to take care of my daughter Roman's bat mitzvah and engage in my new responsibilities at the synagogue. Yet this moment became a leitmotif and gave me strength when doubt or discouragement caught up with me. A year later, I began to think of becoming a rabbi, but it was vague and weird, and I kept it in a corner of my mind, choosing to focus on the professional project of others, since that was my job. In April 2013, the desire to become a rabbi came to the forefront, and everything fell into place. I started to vocalize my desire shyly at first. Then, as the weeks went by with more confidence, I still remember the enthusiastic laughter of Pauline Beb and René saying that he knew before me that I would choose this path. I remember Hervé's encouragement and so many other supportive faces. Hineni, here I am, 5 years later, and ready to receive my smicha. No sacrifice or obstacle has distracted me from my dream, nor the long evenings of study, nor the long round trips on Eurostar, nor even London's weather. Today is fine. And the food was good thanks to Graziella and her Italian dishes. How can one summarize 5 essential, rich, and formative years? They passed like a dream, with only a few snapshots left behind. Nathan's precious advice about how to behave in the prayer room, our Talmud classes with Laliv and Mark, where I really felt like an elephant in a china shop, the precious moments spent with Kasha at her convent, the priceless advices of my tutor, Rabbi Alex Wright. A singing lesson with Monica when I thought I would never be able to sing the Kol Nidre. Another with Robin, who made me overcome my fears. V'haikar lo lefached klal. But the essential thing is never to be afraid. I remember Jeremy's demonstration of the Amidah, which he said should be performed backwards, and the image of the prophet Elijah that depicted by Charles, a kind of hairy and terrifying trap. I recall Deborah's passionate teaching of Megillat Eicha, the Book of Lamentation. I fell in love with the text and managing to find in this maze of biblical figures the one with whom I could finally identify myself. Zion. Certainly a symbolic rather than an embodied character, but so real and authentic. So many blessed moments shared with our teachers. I'm sorry not to mention all of them, because each of you has contributed to my partial transformation. Then there were the wonderful all-road vocational rabbis who patiently observed, fed back, taught, and listened to us. I mean, in particular, Richard, where is he? Here, and Tom. Other excellent rabbinic role models await me in France. 3 almost heroic women, rabbis, in their order of appearance, Pauline, Floriane, and Delphine. I will be the 4th of these musketeers. And when 3 more join us, we will reach the magic number of 7. I look forward to working at Kerenor, where with Chaim I will set up new projects that connect people Jewishly, and then, if time and health permit, accompany men and women who desire to strengthen their Jewish identity in France in general. To dream is to believe in the future, to have hope and see beyond today's reality. There are so many people to thank. My parents, Céline and Alexandre, who were able to envision their daughter as a rabbi as well. My dear husband, Hervé, who has always believed in me. My children, Roman and Ivan, who pushed me hard in order to do the best I could and be proud of their mom. Thank you to my family from Israel and France and all my English and French friends who are so enthusiastic that they even came here today. I'm also having in mind those who promised to be here and are no more. Rabbi Harry Jacobi and Michel Zichronam livracha. Their memory is a daily source of blessing. Thank you to my colleagues from Leobec. I will miss you so very much. And last but not least, thank you, Gershon, sorry, this way, Igor and David. We have built such a solid and cohesive team, able to overcome some extremely difficult moments. We can be proud of our friendship and ability to both challenge and support each other. I wish you all Mazal Tov and Behatzlacha. May you be blessed in all your future endeavors. I love you. And God bless you all.
Although my teachers were, unsurprisingly, a most important element of my rabbinic studies, it is my fellow rabbinic classmates, Igor, Daniela, and Zahavit, who have been at the center of my experience as a student at Leobec College and hence my new career as a rabbi. Each of them will challenge and transform progressive Judaism through their leadership, and indeed they have already been doing so. My rabbinic dissertation is about changing paradigms of leadership. My own experience as an ordained cantor becoming a rabbi, the only one in this country so far, led me to explore in my dissertation the idea of rabbinic leadership and how the growing presence of cantors in British progressive Judaism is positioned to change the way we think of leadership. My research led me to compare it to that other revolutionary change which we now rightly take for granted, the entry of women into the rabbinate and the transformative effect of feminist theology on the way we think about Judaism. Women in Judaism have long been the keepers of, in my teacher Melissa Raphael's term, the little tradition of hearth and home, Yiddishkeit, if you will, while men's role has been the creation and preservation of the great tradition of Jewish law in its formal context. Similarly, in contrast to the great tradition of the rabbi, the holders of theology and law, the cantor is responsible for the little tradition, the music that, without changing the meaning of the texts of the liturgy, opens them to reveal an emotional and spiritual depth which has little to do with theology or law and much to do with devotion to the beauty of the text. Cantors are not oppressed as women have been, but their presence in progressive Jewish life reflects the focus on non-hierarchical relationships that is a central part of feminist theology. Feminist theology proposes a more egalitarian understanding of who we are, a rethinking of the role of authority, and how we define and encourage community by focusing on relationships, along with a creative engagement with tradition. The increasing cantorial presence in British progressive Judaism will strengthen our sense of community by introducing a greater awareness of the richness of Jewish musical traditions, old and new. I am also part of that growing cohort of older rabbinic students who bring to rabbinic leadership the example of lifelong learning. In many fields, the most dramatic accomplishments and the professional ambition that leads to them occur by the time we reach our 50s, with much of our lives still ahead of us. But we live most fully, especially once we reach midlife, when we focus not just on accomplishment, but on the virtues that are most meaningful to us. I have had the privilege of study, sitting at the feet of masters in pursuit of the transcendentally important. I hope that my example allows my congregants to see their lives in the context of the values they themselves find most meaningful, but which can be obscured by the need to succeed. As Stephen Spender counsels, never to allow gradually the traffic to smother with noise and fog the flowering of the Spirit. My congregants don't have to go to rabbinic school to experience this, you can relax, but knowing that I did so may open up for them the possibilities for their own spirits to flower. The middle years of my time at Leo Baeck College are linked in memory to my late partner, Professor Deborah Lynn Steinberg, and her illness, decline, and death. Deborah had strongly encouraged me to pursue rabbinic ordination and supported me as long as she lived. I feel her presence here today. And the college was unfailingly supportive of my continuing as a student, despite the barriers to it that were occasioned by Deborah's increasing needs. I will never forget the kindness of the college administration and faculty during that period, nor that of liberal Judaism, which supported me unstintingly. I think today especially of my parents, Lester and Dina Sillins of blessed memory. Today represents, among so many other things, an instance of the fulfillment of the commandment to honor one's parents. They were committed to progressive Judaism, and this moment would have made them happy. During the last year of my studies, my life has been transformed by my partner, Catalina Ronzon, who has challenged and delighted me with love and joy. My long commitment to Jewish life now continues as a rabbi, and it is impossible to disentangle my new role from the warm relationships and professional support of my classmates, teachers, and colleagues, all of whom profoundly influenced my understanding of Jewish life. For 5 intense years, Leo Baeck College has been my home. As the members of our class disperse into the wider Jewish world, creating our paradigm-shattering roles as rabbis in our communities, I feel the sadness of leave-taking, but even more an immense gratitude for the experience I have shared with this, and I don't use the word lightly, holy community, through which my life has been profoundly transformed.
In the parasha that some synagogues read yesterday and some will be reading next week, the Israelites have been crying out for water. They used to have a well, but it disappeared with the death of Miriam. There's some drama where Moses strikes the rock, and then this little scene which jumped out at me. And it's actually also the beginning of a song, Az Yashir Yisrael et Hashira Hazot. Then Israel sang this song. Ali Ba'er, spring up, O well. Enula, sing to it. They sing to their well. It's such a lovely image. Ali Ba'er, spring up well. Enula, sing to it. Our rabbis say that the Israelites' embattled struggle to find water, which we all need for physical survival, is an exact analogue for their desire and need for Torah, which is necessary for spiritual survival. So we have Israel summoning its well, and summoning it with song. And people who know me, and my fellow students who know me well, know that I love singing, and I love dancing too. And I arrived at Leo Baeck College with one burning question: will I still be allowed to dance at parties once I'm a rabbi? I asked many of my teachers this question. It never lost its intensity, but the question became refined, and with help, I started to formulate it differently, maybe better. Can I be me in public? Can I be a rabbi if I'm sometimes sad or angry or crazy? How can I know if I'm up to this holy, responsible task? At Leo Baeck College, we discussed these questions directly and obliquely. We learned Torah, and we talked, and we were digging our wells. In classes studying history, Talmud, Chassidut, and my beloved Midrash, in pastoral and vocational classes, in Chavruta, in coffee shops, walking around the Sternberg Center site, the park, the streets of Finchley with fellow Leo Baeck College students and teachers. All of our conversations were informed by Torah in its broadest sense. We were adding drops to the well. Every class, every assignment, every book read, every essay written, every test sat,
Every shacharit in the room of prayer, every Kaddish said we were adding drops to the well. And my mother died. And that was not the only death in our cohort. We learned about loss. I got to know my own grief. I learned about bereavement in both theory and practice, adding drops to the well. Beyond the college, the collection of drops accelerated. At New North London Synagogue, my shul, every coffee with a congregant, every chat around the shul with Claire, with other staff members, every meeting, every text, every emergency confab in the middle of a shul service, shivers, weddings, b'nai mitzvah, adding drops to the well. And with my other community, New Essex Masorti, long walks to shul, with congregants, learning together, getting to know one another's families, food and hospitality, adding drops to the well. My community of friends in Asif and beyond, cheering me on, allowing me to rabbi them, a rabbi with L plates, learning on the job. Rabbi Jonathan Wittenberg, my own rabbi, my friend, my colleague, so many beloved friends and colleagues and fellow rabbis, all adding drops to the well. And that was 6 years too in the life of my children, Rosa, Asha, Lonnie. 6 years, there was primary school, there was secondary school, there was camp, there was adventures, there was mobile phones, triumphs and frustrations, love and hilarity, and exhaustion, all adding drops to the well. Other family members have supported me, have shown up, have been here, and also bring with them my father and my brother, bringing mummy to us too, cousin Ramona, cousin Avital. And David, my partner in all things, my Rebbitzman, the best person I know. We've been nourishing one another, adding drops to the well. How privileged I've been to have so many contribute this far. This well is well nourished. And today I summon everything in this rich life of the last 6 years. I say with gratitude to everyone in my life, and above all, of course, to the Makor HaChaim, the source, the wellspring of all life. Ali for air, spring up well, Enula, sing to it. Thank you.
We're on page 11.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דיברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולם מעולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה ברך לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, ואמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידי הון ועל כל מאן דעוסקים באורייתא, די לאתרא הדין ודי לכל אתר ואתר, יהא להון ולכון שלמה רבה, חינה וחיסתא ורחמים וחיים אריכין ומזונה רווחה ופורקנה מן קודם מבוהון די בשמיא וערה, ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן.
We'll read together. The earth and its fullness belong to God, the world and those who dwell in it.
For it is the Creator who set it on the seas and made it firm upon the depths.
Who may ascend the mountain of God, and who may stand in that holy place?
Those whose hands are clean, whose heart is pure, who have not given up their soul to worthless things, nor committed themselves to deception.
They shall earn a blessing from the Creator and be vindicated by God who saves them.
This is a generation that searches for God. Those who seek your presence are the family of Jacob. We sing together on the 4th line of the facing page.
So shall
Together to the foot, from halfway down to the foot of page 13. God's teaching is perfect, reviving the soul. God's word is unfailing, making wise the simple. God's precepts are right, delighting the mind. God's commandments are clear, enlightening the eyes. God's doctrine is pure, enduring forever. God's guidance is true and altogether just. God be present among your people, and may your spirit rest in your house of prayer. For every voice and every tongue will speak of the glory and majesty of your dominion. For I have given you a good instruction, do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to all who grasp it, and those who hold fast to it are happy. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace.
לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי ותעזבו, מצרים תלם נהזיקים בה, ותומכם
seated, and it's a great pleasure to invite Dr. Leliv Klenman to address the ordinands and all of us.
Greetings, honored guests, principals emeriti, rabbis from student to senior, professors, lecturers, families, friends, and last but not least, ordinands. Though you may be seated behind me, I am addressing only you. Each of you has learned in your own way. I am both sorry and heartened to say that in difficult times, Torah can sustain you. Turning to the study of our sages and scripture can be a source of sustenance, of healing, as if Torah were our water and we lost in the desert, parched. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsal, binot deshe yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenahaleni. Nafshi et Chauvev. L'Éternel est mon berger, je ne manquerai de rien. Dans de vertes prairies, il me fait camper, il me conduit au bord d'eau paisible, il restaure mon âme. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. We promise ourselves that God is our shepherd, and not a thing shall we lack. God will guide us and cause us to rest on the greenest of pastures, by the soothing, restful babbling of the stream. Thus may our lives be restored to us. This past year, I myself have recited this psalm countless times, seeking to incantate its vision of surety, of abundance, of being a sheep secure in its flock, so well herded. Often as I did so, I found myself standing physically by the Dollis Valley Brook, seeking Mei Menuchot, its waters of restfulness, to be Binot Deshe, in its grassy fields, when I was in fact in the valley of deepest darkness, the Gate Sal Mavet. Scholars tell us this is not the famous shadow of the valley of death, but a shade of deepest darkness, the pitch blackness, in which we can see neither ahead nor behind, nor above nor below. Only that we are, even if we wish we were not, and that we may stand still, or we may walk, or we may fall down. Nafshi eshovev, yancheni v'ma'agle tzedek lema'an shemo, gam ki elech beget salmavet lo irara, ki ata imadi. Through the psalm, we attempt to reassure ourselves that God does not merely leave us to ruminate and chew our cud in the dappled shade by the stream. No, we are special sheep, and there is a path of righteousness and justice that we follow for the sake of God's own name. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Il me dirige dans les sentiers de la justice en faveur de son nom. Dussé-je suivre la sombre vallée de la mort, je ne craindrai aucun mal, car tu serais avec moi. This is no unclear path, no journey replete with decisions and turnings, unmarked routes, no. This is the path made by the wagon wheels of righteousness as they turn. They leave ruts etched into the ground, and we are led in these with the certainty of a train on its tracks. Each of you knows all too well that this soothing notion belies the complexities and challenges of human existence, even at its most pampered. Each of you is a traveler across cultures, through loss, beyond barriers. Daniela. Quand vous avez, et il me semble qu'il me faut vous voyez, un tel jour comme celui-ci, ah oui. Quand vous avez annoncé votre désir d'être rabbin, peut-être tout le monde pensait que vous avez pété les plombs. Quand même, folle ou non, vous êtes ici. La 4e femme rabbin en France et la première ordonnée par la première femme rabbin en France. Nous sommes dans un moment de Sheherianu. Votre smicha est une smicha de l'Eurostar. Et de la détermination. Voyage sous la mer, entre cultures, entre familles, études, emplois. En temps de difficulté, vous vous tournez aux études, à nos sages, au Talmud. J'espère qu'il vous guiderait quand vous serez dans la sombre vallée, que vous ne craindriez aucun mal, car les sages et Dieu seraient avec vous. Vous n'êtes jamais satisfaite ni contente, vous n'arriverez jamais. Et c'est pour ça précisément que vous allez créer, lutter, réussir.
Gershon.
You have traveled across the longest undefended border in the world as yet. Canada may yet feel the need to build a wall. As a cantor in a massive congregation to a renewal through your rabbinic training on this, the other side of the pond. You have endured debilitating loss, through which you are emerging with courage and rebuilding a new life, even as you somehow summon the strength to care for others. It is all these myriad journeys that are delivering your gifts to our precious local communities. Please, God, may not all of us move to London. May your voice and your wisdom sustain them as you have sustained and been sustained by us. Igor. The scope of your journey is beyond what many of us are capable of fathoming. From the vast industrial landscapes of Chelyabinsk, only finding out about your Jewishness at the age of 10, when your grandmother had the foresight to send you to the Jewish summer camp. Reminds me of my mother, who said, if I had known how you would have turned out, I never would have sent you to a Jewish school. From Chelyabinsk, you have traveled to the heart of the hallowed halls of the LJS in London. From your passionate and innovative wisdom for the Russian-speaking diaspora, your concern for derech eretz and Jewish manners on the internet and in our real lives, may your own kavod larav find its way back to you as you make your international and congregational dreams a reality. Zahavit. For you, nothing has changed. And yet, everything has changed. As you take up your role and title as rabbi at New North London Synagogue, even within your own grief and loss, you found the strength to support others who had lost in turn. Times of crisis has spurred you on to growth. You have dwelled within the LBC community and especially its library, aiming to read every book you could, feeling as if you were dwelling in the house of the Lord. Veshavt beveit Hashem. Your reading, your learning, and your sleeping are broad and deep. You sought a title and a professional role to match your desire for genuine engagement, leadership, excellence, and learning. May you read every book and then more. May you correct every error that lingers on Sefaria. May you teach and then teach some more. May you continue to welcome those who have lost into the club of loss with care and honesty. The moment of smicha which you have just now undergone is a liminal moment in your journey. You have entered students and emerged rabbis. Neither the grantor of smicha nor the recipient, nor the chain of smicha itself remains unaltered. New connections have been formed, traced back generations, and now forward through each of you. Or have they? It is said that smicha does not exist. The chain long broken, Rabbanan, our rabbis, lost to us, and all of us impostors. Perhaps then there is no such thing as smicha. Is this a moment in which nothing happens? It is disconnected from each other moment. Does it link neither back in time nor forward into the future? It is a meaningless nothingness. There was a rupture in time and ritual, in politics and state that ended the smicha of the early rabbis in what they called Israel, that had begun perhaps with Moses, perhaps with Joshua, perhaps just after Hillel and Shammai. After this rupture, there is, in a sense, no meaningful smicha, no Sanhedrin, no nothing. Each of you exists inside this rupture. You dwell within it, navigate it, metamorphose inside it as in a chrysalis, altering it even as it alters you. Within this rupture, there is everything and nothing. Just as in the midst of the certitude of the wagon wheels of righteousness and the abundance and compassion of God, there is this empty darkness. Within everything, also nothing. Like a midrash, you and your smicha are fictional, invented, and yet connected intimately with everything. Interpretation stretching to the very source of revelation, to its very moment of inception. Trace these traditions and you find generations of scholars, trailblazers, committed leaders. Semicha, in its ancient sense, was first the act of placing your hands on the head of the animal with all one's might, just before it was sacrificed on the altar. Thankfully, your semicha is of a different kind. These are also the sheep. The term is also used when the community placed their hands on the head of the human being who was subject to capital punishment and about to be killed, another change of state. One instance of this is the one who was known as the Mekalel in Leviticus 24, the nameless son of Shelomit bat Divri and his Egyptian father, who cursed God after fighting an Israelite man in the encampment. What to do with this man, Moses does not know. Indeed, this is one of the few instances where Moses does not have the halacha in his hand and must seek an interpretation from God directly. And God says he must be taken outside of the camp, and all who heard his cursing and blaspheming must place v'samchu, their hands upon his head, and all the community must stone him. We will not do this now. This perush from God is followed by a statement of the new law, which holds even non-citizens liable for the death penalty for cursing and blaspheming God. A similar case is that of the daughters of Zelophehad, who raised their concerns around their lack of inheritance with Moses. As in the case of the Mekalel, the law for this case is unknown. Moses brings their judgment near before God, and they are granted inheritance rights, which are also then stated as a new halacha. This lack of knowledge in the face of newness and the individuality and variety of humanity is met by innovation in the law, and then is immediately followed by what was ostensibly the first instance of smicha, Moses' appointment of Joshua in his stead, placing the ruach, or spirit, of Elohei Haruchot on Joshua through the laying on of hands. I like to think that you are all merachefing in this ruach as you have been going through this transition this past week and in the days to come. Even if Moses was in fact the most humble man in existence, this must have been a terrible moment of personal loss and grief, as the divine had just informed him that he would see but never touch the fabled land of Israel. It was with this heavy burden of the knowledge of his own impending death, knowing that his leadership would end with denial and punishment, that Moses followed the divine command for the first smicha, doing so in order that the community of God may not be as sheep who have no shepherd. Velo tihyeh edat Adonai katzon, asher ein lahem ro'eh. There may have been an earlier moment of smicha, where Moses had already conducted a ceremony of transferring some of his spirit upon the 70 elders. This too was a time of trial for Moses, as our constant kvetching had pushed Moses to the point where he begged God to take his life from him. He would rather die than lead them. His acknowledgement of his situation cannot fail to move the reader to this day. I am not able myself alone to carry this people, for it is too heavy for me. I recently had the honor of meeting Professor Tamara Cohen-Eskenazi, another trailblazer. She spoke of Queen Esther's initial hesitation to lead and to take upon herself that weighty responsibility for her people, until she ultimately chooses to wear royalty, Vatilbash Esther Malchut. Cohen-Eskenazi spoke of Esther's donning of her regal position, not as a wearing of royal garb or some kind of dressing up, but of a conscious adoption of her rightful power and accountability, of living her leadership. Our new ordinance, these rabbis each are choosing their new role to wear their rabbanut with the courage to lead us into this unknown future. May you wear your rabbiness. May you garb yourself in it with courage and compassion. Even in moments where the responsibility and accountability strike fear in your heart, weakness in your mind, may you rise and forge new paths and new communities. When my mother, Zichrona Livracha, passed away this past year, my friend Rabbi Laila Kajadin drove the 5 hours from Boston to Montreal to sit beside me at the Shiva. She sat beside me and comforted me to my right-hand side, right here, where I still feel her, now and always. And then she drove another 5 hours back home to Boston. I told her she should not have done this, driven all this way just for this. As Jethro told Moses when he found him judging all day by himself, I thought, not good is this thing that you do. She told me that Judaism is a religion of showing up. It is remarkable in its own way that as I have navigated my dark valleys of loss these last months, each of you has offered a path, a comfort, a restfulness, even as yet students. And so it is with genuine nachas that I can say to each of you, continue to lead the way and be guided. Be the sheep and the shepherd. Honor the sacrificed and the sacrifices. Meet the challenges of the darkness of the unknown and create the innovations. Stand up and don your garb. Show up. May goodness and loving kindness pursue you all the days of your lives, and may you dwell in the house of God for the length of days, that we may not be as a flock without shepherds. Velo tihyeh adat Hashem katzon, asher ein lahem ro'eh.
May I invite the Chairman of the Board of Governors of the College, Dr. Stephen Herman, to come to the bima for the presentation of the ordination certificates, and you may clap after they've received theirs as well. Igor Zinkov. Rabbi Daniela Tuati. Rabbi Cantor Gershon Sivitz. Rabbi Zahavit Shalem. Now I invite Dr. Joanne Myers, Director of Jewish Education, to bring with her Avi Marco to receive his certificate for the MA in Jewish Educational Leadership.
So, Avi, I just wanted to say that we are very proud of your wonderful achievements in achieving this award of the MA in Jewish Educational Leadership. We wish you every happiness and success for your future, and we know that you're going to make the transference from the corporate world into Jewish education beautifully, and we look forward to seeing that. It's a wonderful day for us to be celebrating your award.
We are on page 15 in our prayer books. If you would please stand.
Lord.
Please rise. You are already. Stay risen. Stay risen. On page 17. We now call to mind our teachers and our teachers' teachers. Rabbi Dr. Werner van der Ziel, Rabbi Dr. Leerbeck, Rabbi John Rayner, Rabbi Dr. Albert Friedlander, Rabbi Hugo Green, Professor Ben Siegel, Rabbi Dr. Louis Jacobs, Professor Chaim Maccabee, Dr. Ellen Littman, Dr. Wendy Greengross, Dr. Irene Bloomfield, Rabbi Sheila Schulman, Rabbi Lionel Blue. Zichronam livracha le'olam, their memory will be an everlasting blessing. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Agala b'zman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam al'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha b'riyechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, tamiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom araba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei Adam, ve'imru amen.
Please be seated. The top of page 18.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Please rise for the concluding blessing. A blessing that isn't merely for Igor and Daniela and Gershon and Zahavit, but a blessing for all of us, for the communities that have nurtured them, and of course Avit too, to this momentous occasion, and for the communities and the friends and the family who they, in their work moving forwards, will continue to nurture and bless in all the work of their lives. And so for all of us I say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yer Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Please remain standing until all the rabbis have left. At least the ones on the bima, anyway. Families, if you'd like to follow out. The reception and tea will be served in the hall. If you exit through those doors, turn left, you can go round to where the reception is.